Dream Kitchen. What the fuck, man? Let's cook some food. Dream Kitchen. I love food. No shit, no shit, no shit, no shit, no shit, no shit. Oh boy. I know, I was just on the verge of leaving and then I thought, what for? I had this idea I could go and buy some sugar. And I thought, what for? I mean, every time I eat sugar, I'm like, it shoots me up. And then I just sink down into a low again. And the same with coffee. I mean, maybe it's time to just learn how to stay focused. And instead of stuffing myself, you know, it's just also living in a kind of a state of acceptance. And to just use what you have available. Instead of always looking for things that are actually not there. Such as the love of women or whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. But what matters is that it's not there. Yes, so I'm at the moment going through some transitions again. Weird. I don't know what to eat. And everything I could eat just seems like, what's the point? So you could say that I just don't know who to be anymore. I think that's a fair thing to say. Because normally I would probably eat something sweet now. But I'm just trying to change that. Yeah. So I'll just do something else. I mean, I know how to cook, so why not cook? Question is, of course, what to cook. I mean, I've got chickpeas. I could make some kind of Egyptian pizza. But there's nothing worse than cooking on an empty stomach. Or maybe actually that's the... I could actually use this and make something else out of it. So I'm just going to start and just see where this is going. But I just knew, or I had the feeling I don't want to leave. For whatever reason, right? And so I'm just going to stay. For, again, whatever reason. Just because, I mean, I don't have the money anyway, so I could have bought, you know, I have 30, if I have everything together, I would have 37 cents. No, 47. And then I'm missing 2 cents to buy sugar, and then I think, yes, sorry, but I have to have a bit of pride. You know, I'm not gonna run around the supermarket or ask people for 2 cents just to buy sugar. It's just ridiculous. Because I can get high without sugar. And I actually feel much better without sugar. And that's a fact. And, you know, that's the weird thing about transitions, because you don't know what's gonna happen. So I don't have to explain to you what I'm doing here. I mean, this is spelt flour. This is some kind of spice blend containing white sesame, chickpeas, for whatever reason, coriander, cumin, black pepper, mint, and thyme. And thyme is apparently of the essence because I'm creating like mad. I cannot say that I'm in a particularly good mood. I feel kind of mellow, which of course also comes from no sugar, no meat, no alcohol. So I could actually say I feel balanced. For the first time in a while, I feel actually balanced. And for that I just went through a night of kind of hell. Felt like I was being dissected or something. Certainly had notions of, you know, self-inflicting anger on myself. But, you know, I just accept that it's there, you know. I don't have to feel like, oh my god, it's so terrible, you know. Yeah, sure, you know, I'd really like to leave, you know. I would really like to leave. But I'm still here, and that's annoying, to say the least. And nothing's happening, right? I'm just creating this stupid stuff for people I don't know, you know, because I think that's my mission, to show the world what somebody can do, right? Oh yeah, he recorded his entire YouTube channel a year before. Amazing, this is boiling water. And this is an unusual kind of a recipe. Jesus, you know, I feel less annoyed. You know, this does something to the gluten and the flour. Okay, what is this going to be? I don't know, there was once a book, or I have a book, and there was a recipe for, or there is a recipe for Egyptian pizza in there. And I mean, I'm not a big fan for following recipes, but sometimes it makes sense. I mean, that's all I can say to that. I could just eat that. I mean, it's basically porridge, right? Oh, I really haven't eaten in a while. And then you realize how much okay, that's a weird mixture, but it's just energy. Phew. That was close. I mean, I think that's as close to yeah. Sometimes I just start feeling so, you know, rebellious against my own nature. That I just want to do nothing. And then I mean that. And I just want to do nothing. Like really nothing. Because I've been working, I mean, I just created half a month of videos. Just did September. And then you think, you know, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, I already recorded myself in so many different ways. Yeah, am I supposed to cook now? Because my entire life is basically just this. Right? At the moment, at least. My entire life is just this. It's just stupid. I mean, that's just what it is, I think. It's just stupid. Okay, so now I'm thinking, because I know there are a recipe. Okay, I already put this here. This is canned tomatoes, you know. My God, he's opening up again, right? Yeah. Good for you. Okay, I'm going to teach you a recipe, you know. Right. Everybody's so selfish. Everybody talks about such nonsense. I mean, we can do better things than to just sit around and feel miserable. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just making sense. My own sense. Because I am the center of what's happening around me. And so I have to take responsibility for how I feel and then say, okay, what needs to happen? What needs to happen? Yeah. I don't like people who are bored watching me. You know, if they want to, they can just have a look on the internet. But I had the feeling my neighbors were watching me, and that's not just paranoia. That's just, I mean, they never leave the house. Okay, that's just like me, but you know. It's like people standing behind curtains and you can see how they lurk there. Well, that's what you want, right? You want people to talk if you're an online creator. So sometimes I may give them the opportunity to observe me. Yeah, just don't be an idiot. I mean, I just put pouring water into this. And what does that mean to you? Well, it means that it's gonna be hot, right? You know, if everything were solid, then where do just ideas come from, right? I mean, I don't have to know how to do this. Sometimes I have ideas that are clearly not my own. So, if somebody cooks something like this, then, you know, if you focus on what type of food you want to eat, I mean, you can express yourself in food. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's weird to always eat it only yourself. So sure, living with someone would be nice for a while. I don't know how long I could deal with that. Well, it depends, I think. I think it would start to show. I also have no idea. Today is the 25th or something of November. And I am recording myself because I think that I need a break from recording myself. So if I record myself for an entire year, then I think I could stop recording myself. It's just then the transition, just like being addicted to sugar, right? What is the transition from being a sugar addict to not eating sugar? Well, for me, from the moment that I made that choice, I don't know, a couple of years? I mean, couple of years? Crazy, right? Okay, I'm gonna improvise this. I'm gonna take the lentils I made the other day. I'm going to add canned tomatoes. And then you're gonna see. So you saw what just happened, right? Normally you pull this off and then this opens. Well, it didn't. Most people would just get incredibly angry at that. Or just use it to waste their energy on hate, which I think is a waste of energy, because you could invest it into something else. So this it doesn't have to be hot. It just needs to be okay, it would be good to reduce it. No. You know, to me, right now, I just want to eat. This is salt, in case. This is cumin. Quite a bit of it. And now I can think, is there something that I can use that this would... Well, I can just be a bit weird about it. You know? I can just add a bit of flour. Make it part of the dough. Because otherwise it's just gonna be too... too fluid. I mean, most people would just say that's weird, but to be honest, oh, I think it's gonna be nice. And it's still better than McDonald's, right? So the idea is to roll this out and then make kind of a dough. And everything else would be dishonest, because that's just what I feel right now. That's just what I want to do. If I would have other things, I would use them, but I do not. And I could use kidney beans and squash them. I have a small can of chickpeas. So I'm going to Okay. I mean, I just like this. I mean, you can keep the fluid, by the way. Yeah. And use it for you can keep the fluid and use it for example, you know, you could use it for pancakes, you could use it for bread. You can also use it to make mayonnaise. Okay, so I'm just going to take a fork. Sometimes it's nice to just use your hands. You know, just use simple methods. I mean, I don't always have to take a blender, because this is actually using my own strength and to just remind myself how they used to do things. Right? We don't, you know, you could just chop everything really fine instead of using a blender, right? If you just chop the onions really thin, like as fine as you can get them, and then you chop the carrots really fine, you can make a soup out of it. And then you could just do it like that instead of always using a blender. I mean, I've got a blender, it doesn't really work. You know, okay, you know, how would you get chickpeas into a fine paste? Well, you just squash them. And if you make falafel, you just buy chickpea powder, chickpea flour, and then you soak chickpeas, and then you just, of course, it would be probably better to have different material in which you can really squash things. Okay, I think. Yeah, it's really better to take the time if you cook. I don't know why, I just feel like I'm in a hurry. And that's just something you have to get used to just take your time to prepare food. And to just say, hey, instead of... this was a really small can of chickpeas, by the way. And chickpeas contain a lot of fiber, they contain a lot of protein. No need for meat if you eat like this, I'm just saying. I mean, it's just your mentality. I have lived vegan and vegetarian for years. I never felt like I was missing anything. But I did try, and I have to say it disgusts me, because these beings have been tortured all their lives. And that's what you're going to eat. So my point is, you know, how could a chicken that's been raised in cage conditions give you strength, right? How would making, you know, how would eating cows from this kind of beef ever give you strength? Just makes no sense. Because, I mean, the reason a warrior receives strength from animals is because he goes and puts his own life on the line to hunt them. I mean, do you think lions would be as strong as they are if they wouldn't have to take down the prey? Right? If you would just feed them, they'd just be weak. It's the same principle. And if you would take such a weak lion that's been, you know, fed animals from captivity and mass production, and you would, you know, put him in a fight with a lion that's been, you know, that's almost starving. I mean, I can almost guarantee that the lion that's almost starving would probably win. And maybe some people would like to disagree, you know, it's hard to say. Doesn't matter to me, you know, I don't want to find out. Of course, this is the thing that money could buy. It's disgusting. I really feel a difference because I've paid attention to how I feel, how the people in my surroundings feel. That when they say, you know, I need to eat meat, they just say that because they think they have to. It doesn't mean I can never eat meat again, but I mean, it took me a week, scratch that. A week after eating meat, I could still feel the chicken in me, and I found it really disgusting. And what I also find disgusting, that I was once in Africa. I'm just gonna say it, you know, was with my family. And I bought and slaughtered an old cock, and the meat was really tough, and they didn't want to eat it. They just didn't want to eat it. Just think about this. They didn't want to eat it because it was too tough for them. No, it has to be soft. Yeah, right. And then, you know, I don't want to really bicker about my father because, I mean, at the moment he's paying this apartment. But to be honest, when I look back, how often I cooked and how often he refused to just eat what somebody else made. But he doesn't have a problem to go to the city and eat in a restaurant. But if I cook, I mean, now it has started to change. Because I mean, seriously, I'm a really good chef. And sometimes people just don't want to eat your food because they think it makes them look weak. I think it makes you look weak if you don't eat it. And that's just a fact. I mean, if you can't open up to the foods one of your family members makes, I mean, I eat basically everything. So I'm not gonna be stuck on not eating meat, I think. Okay, this is going to be a bit strange now. Just gonna eat a bit. I'm gonna use this. I mean, some people are really afraid of eating raw eggs because they think it's disgusting or something. You know, I'm not so sure that, you know, I've eaten, every time I make a cake, right, I eat raw dough. So now, because I didn't use a recipe, so I did not, just going for consistency. I mean, for consistency, I try to be consistent with how I live. You know, I think it's too much dough. Or maybe it's perfect. Maybe I want it to be really doughy. Because now I have to roll it out, and the way I remember it was this length. It was 40 something centimeters. And it should be like half a centimeter thick or something. So I feel a clear change between when I eat and when I don't eat. And I also feel a clear change between, you know, what I eat. So now I just want to learn, you know, I just want to be my own man, right? Just because other people are addicted to sugar doesn't mean I have to be. Just because there are people that cling to drinking beer doesn't mean I have to. Because beer makes you weak. And I've seen now a lot of people, and it's just that I think I'd rather try to be strong than, you know, be weak. Okay. You know, I'm just getting better and better. Because I also, of course, I can take the time, right? But if you have a job and you know how to work a job, you know how to go to the office and you know how to go back, because that's what I'm doing. You know, it shouldn't hold you back, you know, to have a job, because then you've got the money, which means you've also got the freedom to invest it into whatever you like. Yeah, I already did this a couple of times, but I haven't done it in a while. And so every time you stop, you have to remember again, you know, just look for the experience in yourself and then just let go. So for that, it's certainly nicer to use some kind of fat or oil, because you want it to be crunchy. But yeah, it's because this is like a wok, right? Okay. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's enough to give an idea a chance so that it can manifest in your life. Because if you're always blocking it, because let's be honest, I mean, I'm technically free to do whatever I want. It's just that nothing's happening. Okay, you see, I mean, I would say that's half a centimeter. That's what I remember. And now I have to spread it out on top. Then you have to roll it like this. You have to roll it like this, and then you have to just watch what I do. But I don't say that I'm not nervous, right? Every time I cook, I have to face my own insecurities, my desire to be better than last time, you know? And that's a challenge. Wow, it's strange. I mean, usually these things aren't as perfect as you want them to be. But then again, you know, to me, food is not about perfection. I don't have to have like special equipment. You don't need this kind of a wok, right? You don't need anything very special. And what this shows, you don't even need what people would consider to be a proper kitchen. You know, you just have to be a little bit inventive and then just do whatever you want with it. Sometimes I'm waiting, you know, I think maybe somebody's gonna call and tell me, have you looked at your channel? You know, it's just exploding. You think, could that be real? Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Okay, this is strange. You see, it's going to be... So that's why sometimes it's actually nice to have, this is for tea, to have real recipes. I mean, I'm not gonna sell this. Plus I'm also experimenting. This is clearly not like the original recipe. Just in terms of, wow. Now you flip it like this. You know, don't worry about that it could get messy. Because it will. Right. If you're afraid of creating a mess in the kitchen, then maybe, I don't know. This comes with experience. Like I said, I found a recipe, it was called Egyptian pizza. And she just called it like that because she had eaten it somewhere. It was actually with mince. Okay. And now you just have to take that, because now you can see, of course, it broke open. So it's going to be fairly hard to transfer that into the pan. Which is why if you do this, I should have actually put it on there already. That was my mistake now. Okay. Damn it. This is not gonna work. This is not gonna look pretty, I'm just gonna say. Yeah, I already hate it. I mean, hate is a strong word, but there's nothing worse than wanting to do something. Now I just have to find a way. Okay. So I'm just gonna try something. Damn it. Nope. You see, I should have taken it when it was like this, put it on here. Because now this is, I mean, nothing is impossible. So we have to get that out of our heads. Plus, I'm gonna eat it. Shit. And nobody else. Okay. I mean, you know now it could be done different. I think what I really want to show people is that, you know, I have done this perfect. And when it's okay with you, I just haven't done it in a while. Okay, just lift it, zack. You see what I mean? And then all I have to do is just turn it up. But this is also not. And then you just cook it. And when it's baked from one side, you can then flip it. And in the meantime, you can just eat this. right? Prepare yourself for a good time, it says sometimes. Well, what's a good time? I mean, what's supposed to happen? Nothing has happened for 2 years, basically. And that's just nothing of what I thought, you know, I could have wanted. So at one point you just live in this state of acceptance where you say, well, apparently, I'm just gonna be alone, record stuff, right? And that's all that is. Because to be honest, I'm not really looking for a good time anymore. Because I already have a good time when I open up to myself. So I don't really need anybody. And that's a far stretch from where I came. Because now I could have left the house, bought sugar, used the pomegranate, made some pancakes, but I chose to do this. Right? That was an active choice. And here I am, right? You know, when you cook this, you can blame me for not giving you better instructions, but that's just life. You know, I'm an intuitive cooker. If you want to learn how to cook, you have to look up recipes online, because I'm already doing way too much. You know, I leave it up to you to learn how to cook. This is just inspiration for people who maybe know how to cook themselves, or for people who just want to start cooking. And then I just say, well, I've already cooked a lot. Which is why, you know, if I'm hungry, I don't have to be overly fussy about what I'm doing. All I have to do is, you know, do stuff. And part of me sometimes wants to leave the house because I think I annoy people when I'm there, but you know, that's their problem, isn't it? This is my compost. And because there's now this weird stuff in there, I mean, I'm not gonna save this flour for later because it may go moldy. You know, if I would have just made dough, I would do it different. I know, I was just on the verge. I started recording Alice in Wonderland, and what I realized, it takes a lot of strength. So this will go in the fridge, and I will remember it tomorrow. It is a waste. That's just what I think. At the same time, I was always waiting for people to come, and I don't know, it just kind of stopped. I don't even want certain people that I thought I wanted to come. You know, I don't want them to come anymore. Simply because I think they had their chance. So if they would contact me now, I don't know, I'd probably be talking from a very high horse. Because I was in a situation where I was looking for this woman, where I thought we had a good connection, and I contacted her and she was like, yeah, I don't need you not anymore, right? Because I feel good. You know, why should I change anything about that? And now I could say, well, it seems like I feel good too. But then the question is, if I record my entire YouTube channel for an entire year, what am I gonna do when I have done that? Because then I wouldn't be able, now I at least have the feeling I'm talking to someone. Well, then I would just write in my book, right? I think that's just how I'm gonna do things, because right now it's just too much at once. But the transition for writing a book, from writing a book to, from recording yourself and talking to writing again, I don't know, I think it's a tough ride. So okay, I'm just going to so this can probably take, like, depending on your stove and on your pan, could take like 10 minutes from each side. When you flip this, I'm gonna show you, of course, but I wouldn't do this. I would let it slide onto something like what's the word? A plate. Slide it onto there and then flip it into the pan. First add some oil again, probably. And that's it then. So I'm trying to waste as little as possible, but wow, I'm full with flour. So yeah. Okay, sometimes if you do this, you can already tell if it's actually... Now this has to also cook through. Smells already good. Smells already good. Yeah. Okay. Right? I mean, there's literally women that don't like strong men. Because strong men need strong women. So if a woman is weak, then, I mean, you get my meaning. Yes, so now the problem is you don't really see what's going on up here. And this doesn't work either. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it cook. Just like that. But I could flip it already. And I have cooked this in aluminium pans that were completely bent everywhere. So there's no real excuse not to do it. Because this dough, it doesn't really stick, right? I would probably, I'm not sure. It looks like it worked. Next time I would probably do it a bit different. Yeah, okay, this. Yeah, forget it. Nobody can ask you to just wait for more than a year without saying anything. Yeah, so in the meantime, while this is cooking, right, because you've got your shit together, right, you also see what you can do in the meantime, which is then clean the kitchen. You know, if I would have a sink and stuff here, I may already start, but because it's in the bathroom, I'm also saving on dishwashing liquid and stuff. I often just pile things up until I've got a large batch and then I do it. Also saves material. But yeah, I mean, it may also be a bit disgusting. You see why I say you can hear it? Because if it's crunchy underneath, right? So I always wasted myself on really stupid women. I mean, really stupid women who were so shallow, but who just could present themselves really well. And that's just what I'm starting to change now. You know, I mean, there are women that just know how to talk smart, that actually they don't know anything. They just know what to say so that somebody would like them. And it just took me a while to see through this. And of course it's my own fault. Right? It was just a symptom of my own ignorance that I just got sucked into these games they were playing. Right? Trying to be super good at whatever they think they're doing. Which they of course don't really know. Okay, this is a really heavy, call it a skillet, but it's got this. Okay, so no. So you have to be smart about this, because if I put it like that, this may tilt. This has to go down. Just keep it clean. Okay. I mean, cooking does need a bit of brains. If you're an idiot, you're just gonna cook terrible food. And I really have a problem with idiots. You know, I'm not saying that because I'm a terrible person, which I may still am, may still be. I'm saying that because, yeah, better use maybe a proper olive oil for cooking or something. I mean, I like coconut fat, but, you know, I'm just starting to change. Because believe me, a couple of weeks ago, or days, I would have rushed off to the supermarket. Okay, now the problem is, of course, because I added fat now, you know, I cannot, normally I could do it like this. Now I could put the pan over and then I could flip it. Now I can't do that. So I'm just going to, and now of course, yeah, you see? Perfect. So there are many ways to figure out. Yeah, you could say it's a bit too much fat. So the idea was also from the recipe that I had. I mean, you make it kind of, you add spices like cumin. You can add spices like coriander. You know, the spices that go good with the meat sauce. And I've done it vegan. I mean, you could use seitan instead of meat in there. So I just started making a tomato sauce. Because what they did was they used like a tomato, they did like a tomato meat sauce. And you cook it until it's like nice and reduced. So you first fry some onion. Nah, actually it was different. The original recipe is you just have the meat and the tomato sauce thingy, and then you reduce it, and you have your oil and your spices, like I would remember it correctly, you know, like coriander seeds, not the leaves, the coriander seeds, and then cumin, cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon for one of these. Probably pepper, salt, of course. You know, let's say that's it. Could probably even put mint in there. And then what you would do is, and the mint I would put later if you would do that. And then you make this kind of a dough. You spread it out like this, and then you put on the meat sauce. You leave 2 centimeters border around, and you put oil on it. And then you first take the thing, you put oil on the entire thing. Then you put the meat sauce. Then you put onions that you cut before. At least that's how I remember it. And then you roll it up, and then you make it into a snail, and then you take the snail and you try to make it, you know, as nice and round as you can. And once you've done that, you have to flip it, and then you can eat it with whatever you want. And it's a good meal like this, and she called it in her book Egyptian pizza. Actually, maybe I do have the book. No, I don't know where it is, to be honest. I may have given it away. This is a book called Vedic Kitchen Art. It's from the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. This is nice. Let's see if it says, oh, the Hare Krishna Book of Vegetarian Cooking. But it's completely different name in here. Sometimes I don't get it. Because Hare Krishna, people think it's a person in Germany, like literally. I mean, we used to think, I was told it was a person. Hari Krishna, everybody always said. Nobody bothered to find out who that was. Okay, now you know it. This is a good book. It does not contain the recipe for Egyptian pizza. And maybe I'm gonna cook at a later stage. Or make a cooking book at a later stage. This is just about Ayurveda. And these books to me are just reminders. I mean, I may flip through the pages if I feel like it. Oh, this is going to be delicious. Delicious! You know what I mean? I know what I mean. Of course, and then comes the insecurities, how much salt. So in the beginning you start with recipes and you look at what other people are cooking. You know, when you're traveling or on YouTube, or you remember what your parents cooked, or if you're visiting a friend or whatever, right? And you meet with friends if you want to that are interested in cooking, or you just cook yourself. Because there's no need. But yeah, it is nice to cook together with people. But yeah, I also find it a bit annoying. Because I usually have my own idea of what I want to cook. At the moment it's strange because I do like sharing food. But this also serves as a reminder that I can still cook, right? So next time I do it, I'll probably be better again at doing it. Because then you draw from memory and then you've got a new experience, which is, hey, okay, I mean, if you serve it like this in the end, who cares? I mean, literally, who cares if you can serve it like this in the end? And so what I wanted to say was that you can make a tomato sauce. And then on the side, you know, you take mushrooms and you fry the mushrooms. Like, you don't put in salt, you just make them like, you caramelize them. You can even do that with the onions already. And then you could, in another pan, also make eggplants. You know, slice them or whatever and then fry them. And then you can make the tomato sauce and then you add you fry onions. You know, it's just one way of doing it. You fry onions and you add the tomatoes. You can add garlic, whatever you want. You add your salt, your cumin, your pepper, your, ground coriander. Then you could add your cinnamon and then you have this sauce. And then you cook it and for half an hour with an open lid, first you fry it, of course, at high temperature or like medium to high. And once everything, you add the tomatoes, you reduce it. So you just let it boil with an open lid so that the water can come out and then it's less runny. So that if you spread it later onto this dough, it's not like just going everywhere. So that was actually what I used. May have been a bit too runny, but I don't care. And what you do then is you prepare your dough, and you put the oil on top, which may be a waste, but it's good for taste. You just spread your nice olive oil on top. And then you put the tomato paste, and then you put the mushrooms, and then you put the eggplant. Don't make it too thick, right? But I like it. I mean, and then you roll it up, and then you have it vegan. So there's no need. This is vegan. Right? This is vegan. And I mean, what do you want your food to do? You want it to taste nice and you want it to satisfy you. I mean, this is going to be satisfying. It's got chickpeas, which is protein, which is an excellent way to say no to meat. Chickpeas and lentils. And spices also have really a lot of essential eterical oils. And I don't know. I just think that this is the way for me. But I cannot say that I wouldn't eat meat again. But I can see how people that were vegetarian before and they had a lot of spunk, they started suddenly eating meat again and they just get fat. It's not necessary. It's also about, do you want to be fat, right? And who's cooking the food? Because if you go to a restaurant, you generally don't see the chef. And depending on which kind of, if he's cooking thinking he's the best, it's actually going to be very bad for your spirit. But if he's cooking from a place of love, then it's different. But these 3-star kitchen thingies, I mean, I don't know. I rather go to like... So I've even eaten it when the dough was still kind of wobbly inside and it just tasted like there was cheese in it. So of course you can also put cheese in it. I've once tried to make it with bananas and Nutella, but that was terrible. For whatever reason, it just wasn't the right kind of dough to make it sweet. And if you would make it, I would probably add a bit of fat to the dough and sugar. And then I would make like some kind of, I don't know, it just didn't work. It just didn't seem right. I mean, you can rather do a banana bread, which I'll be doing at some stage. But at the moment, I'm just working with what I have. Yo, just look at this. This is really nice. And then you work in the kitchen and you know all these things, but they think they know better. So yeah, what does it really matter? Wow, this is super crunchy. Yeah, so question, how long does this need? I think it's said 10 minutes from each side. It's your own responsibility if it burns. I like charred food. I like charred food. Not like, it shouldn't be like completely black. But some people are really afraid they'll get cancer from it. I think you'll get cancer if you are afraid of eating food that has black in it. I mean, how serious are you about wanting to live for the rest of your life? Just a bit phony. I mean, imagine you're traveling and you're in some kind of indigenous tribe and they make food and there's like charred bits on it and everybody's eating it and you're just picking it off. I mean, that's just disrespectful. Then you should rather have stayed at home. Yeah, I don't know, I just think this is actually good. This is just so nice and crunchy. Okay, so I cannot cut it in there. Of course, the chickpea stuff has to go to the fridge. Because seriously, I could record everything, right? I could take pictures of everything, I could post it on Instagram, I could do all kinds of stuff, but to be honest, I had to also focus on, I had to make a choice where I say, okay, I may post these images on Instagram, or maybe I'll just release them on YouTube. But I think I've shown Instagram what I can do, and that's just all there is to it. Okay, I think this is it. So I could even say, let this rest, heat it up again later, because usually these things are better the next day. And then I could just drink a coffee now. But yeah, for some reason that's just what I want. Because if I eat this now, I don't have to show you how it looks from the inside. Now you just cut it into slices. Normally this would be round. I mean, this is not really round, is it? But it looks sure nice. Okay, now I have to look for a lid. And then you just do this. No, actually I have a better way. And this has to go to the side. I'm just gonna keep going. I have art to do, but this is certainly an inspiration for later to eat. Yeah. It's only weird if you think it is. And that's just my own mentality. It's only weird if you think it is. So yeah, I've also been relying too much on my neighbors. That's actually not true. Okay, just give me a second to think about what I want to do with this. This is still clean. I also use baking paper multiple times, while of course baking paper is kind of bad. literally just save myself some time. Whatever that means, does it really matter? There's a song that I really like. Yeah, I'm gonna choose this. Boil it. This is Barista P drink. I mean PEA. Okay. Just to stretch out the coffee a little. So just to say, you know, this is not to be recommended. I just like to be open about what I'm doing. And maybe I'm just gonna keep that to myself. Okay, yesterday I made Amanita muscaria tea. And all I'm saying is if you don't know how to work with this, then better stay away from it. Because this is heavy stuff. I mean, this is not to be toyed with. This could drive you insane. I mean, this stuff is known to make people go berserk. But I know how to work with it. And how to get back to myself. And I even need it for some reason. I drank 0.75 liters of it. And I took 2 Amanita muscaria that I collected the other day. And just have it in mind. I'm not saying this is a good idea. I'm just saying that I know how to deal with it. And so, self-responsibility. So I think I mostly slept, but I was also awake, and I tried to draw, but I didn't really manage. Okay, this is the blend I've been using. This is just the coffee I take from these Nespresso things that I got from, because the supermarket was throwing it away. And so I'm using it. Okay, I'm not gonna put in sugar this time, I think. I just want to see how I'm doing without. And for me, that's already a stretch to have sugar in the house and to not use it. And it's also a signal of strength, right? Where you say, okay, you know, well, actually I'm going to keep it and then use it some other day. But I did realize that if I wanted to make art, I needed something. And this coffee blend, it contains a bit of cocoa powder, nutmeg, possibly cloves, cinnamon possibly, could also contain cumin. And yeah, just the coffee I took from these Nespresso things. Right, these ones. Because yeah, they just threw it away. I mean, and most people, they just see it, they think, oh yeah, I don't have an espresso machine. And I just thought, I can just cut these open. I mean, and at least the least I can say about it, it does a job. I mean, it does its job. It does what coffee does, which just riles you up. Which brings me back to the tea I had. I don't know. I certainly feel that my spirit needs these kinds of things once in a while. Otherwise, I'm just beginning to fade away. So that keeps a man humble, to know that he has to eat, to know that he needs certain things. And that's the price of having a body, of course. And anybody who doubts that can just do his own research. But the way Alan Watts talks about it, and he read a lot, you know, when you see someone and they say, well, he's enlightened, or he had a vision, but he's still smoking cigarettes and he's still having sex, and then people say, well, that cannot be, right? I thought he was supposed to be enlightened. But what you have to understand, he's still got a body. And I always need something. But certain things are certainly better than others. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the sugar for when I'm gonna make a coffee. You know, I actually think I want to do it a bit different. You know, I can drink this. I'm just gonna show you. Turmeric. Normally I would use black pepper. This is just mixed stuff. And then you've got some kind of turmeric tea, right? And I'm just gonna keep that to drink it later. And then what I can also do, you know, if I really want to boost myself, put in 1, 2 of black tea. It's an unusual combination, but of course, because I am used to just doing what I want. Okay. Now, if you would watch this, people may say that I'm crazy. And now I'm also going to use 1. Because I just realized, I don't know. I need this. Maybe I just say that. Okay, this is done. You know, if you wanted to, you can of course add, I'm gonna add a bit of nutmeg. I mean, this can drive people insane, I'm just saying. Nutmeg alone, I mean, I have had huge dosages of nutmeg and I never died. But this could kill you. I mean, I'm just saying. You have to know what to do with the energy that you receive. So this is how I boost myself. But every high is always followed by a low. And if you know that, well, then you can prepare yourself. And anyone who's ever taken things like MDMA, which also cannot be recommended, knows that, oh wow, there's always a low, right? You feel good now, but a day or two later, you're just gonna crash. But if you know that, you can prepare yourself for it. And then you can already say, you know, okay, I'm gonna cook food earlier so that when the time comes and I need to eat, you know, I don't have to cook in the middle of a depression, which you basically created, you know. Sometimes I jump just because I want to see, you know, what's at the bottom. Sometimes you have to jump high to fall deep. Okay, it's a weird combination, I've never done it like this. It's not always about just being tasty. I would certainly add some kind of sugar to this if I have. Now I just turn this off. And then I'm just gonna, take it off. Let it rest. And when I need it, I'm gonna take it. Okay, you know, I can be like really nice now and say, thank you for watching. You know, for me, this is just inspiration. Dream kitchen for sure. I still feel fear to drink this, but that's okay. It's just my own problem. Okay, now I'm just gonna drink it. I'm gonna add a bit of hot water on top. Okay, gonna turn this off and wish you a good day, or week, or life.